So, either you just came to the United States on a B1 business visa, or you're thinking about doing so. But what exactly is a business visa? What are you allowed to do? Can I work, you ask? How long can I stay? Well, I'm that immigration guy, and I'll answer all of those questions and much more. Welcome to my channel. I'm Brent Newcomb. If you're new here, I'm that immigration guy, an attorney focusing solely in immigration law for almost 20 years. I've seen it all. I hope you'll like this video and subscribe for all the news and updates regarding immigration to the United States. Before we begin, I do want you to remember that I am not giving specific legal advice about your case. Of course, every single case is different. However, this is an informative video. For advice on your particular situation, please seek help from a qualified and experienced immigration attorney, such as me, that immigration guy. I'd be more than happy to help. Okay, the B1. So maybe you already have a B1 temporary business visa, or perhaps you're abroad and thinking about coming to the U.S. for some sort of business. Good for you. What do I do next? Well, truth be told, millions of people come to the U.S. every year for business reasons. And the U.S., of course, wants to encourage such business tourism. Thus, the B1 visa. Meant for business trips, B1 all day long. You might be asking yourself, B1? Is there a B2? Well, yes, and the two visas are very similar, but the B2 is more for purely tourist purposes, not for business activities. But I'll cover that in another video. Right now, we'll discuss the B1, the classic temporary business visitor visa. Obtaining the B1 is a relatively quick and straightforward procedure, fortunately. You can apply at the U.S. consulate or embassy in your home country. The process from start to finish can take anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. These visas are then issued for single or multiple entries, and it can be for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years. A lot of that depends on the country from which you're applying and the needs you have for that visa. If any of you viewers have a B1 visa already in hand, I would love to hear from you about how hard it was or wasn't. Just write in the comments below either easy or hard. That way I can get a sense from the viewers whether you agree with me. Feel free to describe any issues you might have had as well. So, how long can you stay with this visa? Normally, when you enter the country on the B1, you may be given anything from like 30 days to 6 months, just depending on the nature of your visit. This period is determined by the Customs and Border Protection Agency when you apply to enter. Small tip, always bring the documents that support the reason for the visa when you cross the border or fly into the airport, just in case the officer wants to see it. You are also more likely to get a longer period of stay if that's what you actually desire. I know what some of you are thinking. I'm here in the U.S. and I don't need a visa from my country. I know. Not all countries need a visa to come to the U.S., although you can apply for a visa in those countries regardless. A future video will discuss what's called the Visa Waiver Program, its benefits, limitations. But for now, we're talking about the B1. Later, there may be some benefits to going through the trouble and getting that visa anyway, even if you qualify for a waiver. So, you're here. How long can I stay? Well, once the visa period expires, you must, by law, leave the country or get an extension. Both of these topics will be discussed in another video. All right, you think, what are the qualifications for the B1 business visa? Am I eligible? First, you must be coming for temporary business purposes. This is a critical concept in the law. Your intent at the time of entry matters. Are you really coming for temporary business purposes? Generally, there's a presumption that all non-citizens seeking to enter the U.S. permanently have that permanent intent, that you want to stay forever. It's up to you to prove otherwise. If not, they're going to deny entry, even if you have that beloved B1 in your passport. Well, what does temporary business purposes mean, you ask? Generally, it means things like investments, buying goods, attending seminars, consulting with business associates, traveling for scientific, educational conferences, some kind of dates for a conference, selling an estate, negotiating a contract, short-term training. These are just a few things it might include. What is it not? You may not be employed or operate your own company. You may not be paid by a source inside the United States. Yes, I know. So what's the point? Well, if you intend to be employed, there are other visas that I will discuss in separate videos. Just know the B1 is not for employment in the United States. It's sometimes even hard to draw a line between business intent and employment. I would absolutely recommend that you consult an attorney, such as me, that immigration guy, for your specific needs. In addition, if you've already received the visa, you must follow the business purposes. Simple as that. So, with that being said, what must you prove in order to get that B1 visa? Well, your business purpose must be legitimate. The officer will no doubt be curious, maybe even skeptical of your intentions. Thus, document your case well. How do you document business purposes? I'll call my office and we'll chat. Second, you must plan on coming for a specific defined period of time. The B1 is not an open-ended ticket to the U.S. Rather, business purposes must be defined with a time period indicated to complete your trip. Unfortunately, a lot of people come to the border and they don't know that period of time. The officer can deny entry if it looks like you're coming for other purposes. Third, you must document that you have the funds to cover the expenses and your stay in the U.S. Different consulates have different standards when it comes to documenting how many funds you need. Typically, you should have enough in the bank to sustain your trip. Remember, you have airline tickets, round trip, lodging, food, transportation, and other expenditures. Fourth, remember, this is a temporary stay, not a permanent one. Thus, you must document that you've residence in a home country that you have no intention of abandoning, as well as a job and even relatives left behind to ensure the return of your visit. So your next question is, how do I get a B1 visa? Of course, my office will be happy to help in this process. However, it is something that can be done without an expert, provided you've got no complications in your history, like prolonged previous entries, criminal record, lying to the government, that sort of thing. Generally, you can apply directly at the U.S. Consulate on Form DS-160. It's tricky, I know, but you can do this yourself. Most U.S. consulates have all the information needed to make that application. And you're going to need a lot of info. But please, please, please don't lie or admit anything. It's illegal and can cause severe consequences. And that will actually cost you more when you have to come to my office and get these things straightened out. A little side note, if you are in trouble or expect to have troubles, contact me at immigrate2us.com or thatimmigrationguy.com. We can set up a paid consultation by phone, email, in person. I'll be glad to talk with you. And I do speak fluent Russian, by the way. Next, you should schedule the interview at the consulate or embassy. Instructions on how to do this will be on the individual U.S. consulate's website. Every U.S. consulate in every country does it differently, and they change the rules a lot. Again, my office can help navigate the process for you. Step 3. Pay the application fee. Again, instructions on how and how much are on the websites. The fees vary by the country you're in. They range from $100 to more than $500 in some cases. Next, gather your documents. You're going to need a lot more than you think. My office can provide an exhaustive list. However, you will need documents showing the purpose of your trip, like business meetings, exhibitions, conferences, employment letter, that sort of thing. Finally, attend an interview before a consular officer. The officer will examine the forms and documents that you presented and ask a lot of questions about the purpose of your trip. Here's where it is vital not to lie. I have seen dozens of cases that have crossed my desk where misrepresentations, omissions, dishonesty have caused the client tremendous headaches and an empty wallet. It may not come up then, but it will in the future, believe me. I've made, unfortunately, a lot of money as an attorney helping people out of such jams. Do not get into such jams. Congratulations, you passed the interview. Now you have this bright, shiny B1 visa in your passport. Only then should you buy your plane tickets to the good old USA. I've said this before. Buying them before the interview does not guarantee success despite popular rumors. The consular officer just doesn't care if you've already bought your tickets. They're looking for the qualifications for the visa only. Recently, I had a case where a client came to me in trouble. He wanted a visa to the U.S. The Immigration Service, USCIS, requested proof that he had not violated his business visa. Well, unfortunately, he had. He'd been working as a taxi driver and picking up odd jobs. Needless to say, his case was complicated and eventually ended up in removal proceedings where the government wanted to send him back to, I don't know, Awayistan. So, how can I avoid troubles with this visa, you ask? 3 things, really. First, keep all your employer documentation from your application process and follow the reasons you stated for coming to the U.S. You didn't come here on the business visa to drive a truck or work construction. Second, follow only eligible activities. This may be where you need the expert assistance, but generally you may not draw a salary from a U.S. company or be employed in the U.S. by a U.S. company. Third, if you're here on a B1 and need to do something else, like work or go to school or be a tourist, apply to change the visa to that type that suits your purpose. Well, I hope this helps. That's the B1 business visa as explained by me, that immigration guy. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe below. I'll be putting out regular content every day. Contact my office for your specific case, even if it's not about the business visa. I'll be more than happy to help. Finally, share the video. And remember, that immigration guy for all of your future immigration legal needs.